Hi there, I'm Brian, and this is Margie.
Hi.
And we're going to try and show you a little bit about Photoshop. I know very little, and Margie here, she knows quite a bit.
I'm an ace.
You're an ace. What's that mean?
I'm an Adobe certified expert in
really?
Photoshop.
Well,
yep.
Good. So you're an ace expert, so you should know what you're talking about then, right?
Hopefully.
Okay, well, good. I've got some questions because I've played with Photoshop a while back. The CS5 looks pretty crazy to me. I know one thing that I've been wondering is, first off, how to create a new file, but I also wanted to know kind of the ins and outs of what I'm looking at right now on the screen. So what can you tell me, like this gray area here, what is this?
Well, actually, why don't I start off with telling you a little bit more detail of what the default workspace is.
Oh, okay.
If I just give you kind of an overview, maybe that gray space you're talking about will be something that will be more logical to you as I talk about.
All right, I call it gray space, you call it default workspace. Okay, go ahead.
And actually, that gray space will be labeled image window.
The image window.
And the document window will actually set within there when we get a file open. So before I get to that new file, Brian, I want to tell you about the parameters of the workspace area. Okay, so let's talk about this first. As you can see, it's defined by the very top area, and that area is labeled the application bar.
Okay.
The next area down where you see file, edit, image, and most people are pretty familiar with that terminology from working with...
Is that the menu bar?
Yes, that's actually the menu bar.
All right.
Excellent. Now, going down into the hierarchy of this top area of the window setup, you have what's called the options bar. Now, what's great about the options bar, Brian, is...
There's a lot of stuff on the options bar.
That's right, and it's going to become very, very valuable to you.
Okay.
Power users refer to the option bar, Brian.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and try it real quick as we're talking about it. Why don't you click on any tool in our toolbox to the left here, or the tool panel.
Okay, there's just a thing on the top here.
That's your selection tool or move tool. Now notice when you hover over it, you get a tooltip. And you will have in parentheses the actual keyboard key that you can click to get back to that tool.
So I just click V just like that.
Right. Why don't you try a T, Brian, on the keyboard?
Let's see what T does. T.
That takes you to the type tool. Did you notice that the option panel will, or bar, they call it, will change?
Different stuff.
Yeah, so options. Get that in your mind. Think about it, Brian. When you have a tool, there's always a lot of options. Now let's stop for a minute and think about Photoshop. Photoshop is a granddaddy of a software, right?
Yeah.
It's full-featured. It's robust.
That's not just for cropping pictures.
No, sir, Brian. There's
a
lot more to it. But I do want you to focus on the fact that it's image editing.
Okay.
Image editing.
Image editing.
That doesn't mean that you go and try to do everything in the kitchen sink in it, like a lot of people try to do. It's really designed for image editing. Now, we do have the type features and things like that. But while you're working with these tools, Brian, kind of look down through that list in your tool panel. They're going to help you work with individual aspects of an image when you open up and get ready to work on it. And we'll go into more detail on that. But let's continue with that options bar again.
Okay.
So as we continue to select another tool, how about the Z on your keyboard? The Z.
Where does that take us?
That's going to take you to the zoom tool. And a lot of those keyboard quick keys are logical to the name of the tool. So Z for zoom, T for type. Now V has been used for selection or the move tool.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we did that.
So we've gone back and forth through a few tools now, and if you can learn, Brian, to immediately look at that option bar as you're working with individual tools, you're going to be that power user that we're going to get
that's
to.
what we're looking for.
I know you're at the beginning stages, right? I know you're just an infant, but you want to be that power user, right?
Yeah, I do.
You want to be an ace someday. Okay, so let's continue on with the description of this actual document workspace or default workspace that's in Photoshop.
All right.
When we were up at the top, let's go back up there and look across that top area. We have Essentials, Design, Painting, and then you will actually click on those arrows and receive more drop-down options that you can click on and select. Now, the default setting for Photoshop is called Essentials.
Okay.
So when you open up Photoshop, that's what you're going to see. Now, Essentials, if you'll click anywhere outside of that drop-down area, if you'll notice those areas to the right of the screen are labeled the panel area. And those individual panels work a lot like what we talked about on the option bar. So when you click upon a panel, and you'll see the name of one right in front of you, Swatches, you can click on that name, Brian, and drag it with your mouse to that image area, that gray space that you wanted to know about earlier, to observe that panel floating out there available to you to make selections.
A little window here.
Yes, it's a separate panel window.
Okay.
So as you can see, they're intuitive. They have a naming convention that will help you go through and find swatches or swatches of color. And a lot of times the default essentials will be logical to you as well. They put the color panel, the swatches panel, and the styles panel nested together for you so that you can go in there and select those easier. So if you'll notice, you can nest those panels right together with each other.
I know one thing that I've done that's kind of frustrating is I've had these out here and I've closed them.
Okay, I want to tell you something that I call going home.
Going home.
Going home, Brian.
Okay.
Now, when you're home, you have your house structure around you. So think about the Photoshop interface or this workspace area as kind of a structural area that you'll learn and get very comfortable with and familiar with, where things are resting in your home. And one of the most important areas for your home are the windows. So under that menu up here, yes, you'll find window. And it's a window to all your panels, and I affectionately call it going home. And why do I call that? Because when people are learning Photoshop, that, as you said, can be so frustrating. You've lost a panel.
Oh, so
where is
right
it?
there.
There it is. You found it in
no,
window.
that was styles. I needed swatches. That's what I lost.
There you go.
And swatches is the colors. Okay.
Yeah. And that can be edited and manipulated as we're going to learn as we go along in our sessions in Photoshop.
So you can get all different configurations here where it sits.
That's right. You can float them. You can move those around with inside. You can dock them to different panels. So bring out the swatches. Let it pop and float. Bring out the color. And move it carefully by the name up to the bottom. Not that fast. A little bit slower, Brian. Move right up in there till you see a blue horizontal line. Release your mouse and now move those, and they dock around. So Adobe's tried to make everything very logical and convenient and helpful for you, because remember what I said? Photoshop is a robust program. There's not always one way to do everything, and there's a lot of options available to you for anything that you do. But don't let that scare you away, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll just take it. You know what I've heard is, have you ever heard how to eat an elephant?
No, how do you do that, Brian?
One bite at a time.
That's actually a very good way to look at Photoshop.
All right, well, let's pause it there, and next time we'll get some more information maybe on how to create a new file or open a file or something like that.
I'd love to show that to you.
All right, thanks a lot.
You're
Bye.
welcome.